Hi there, and welcome to the Fiber Factor. My name's Karin and Cirilia. I'm CEO of Cirilia Collection.
And I'm Cirilia Rose. I'm the creative director here.
And we'd like to start by congratulating the 12 people, knitters I should say, who have been granted official swatching rights for our very first Fiber Factor. And for all of those who didn't make it, we just want to let you know there wasn't a single person who actually wasn't qualified, so we really think it would be great if you would apply again next year when we have our second annual Fiber Factor, right?
Yes, it was really hard to narrow it down to 12, and the people who did really impress us and stand out all had something special. Everyone was really great, but these people had just kind of a story that we wanted to know more. We wanted to see more from them, and this first challenge is really going to kind of pull that out of them even more so that you can get to know them.
But before we tell them about the first challenge, let's tell them what we are going to be sending them first. We are going to be giving you a choice of your set of Addy clicks so that you can be doing all your swatching in style. We have all 4 sets that you can choose from. The very first set that they came out with was the Turbo clicks, and I think you're probably all familiar with the Turbo needles. Second set was the Addy lace clicks in the short length. Now these have a sharper tip than the Turbo ones. They're also nickel plated, but the tips are shorter so that you can actually knit in the round on a 16-inch circumference, which
is great for hat designers, people who knit baby clothes, things like that.
Correct. And if that's not your cup of tea and you actually like to knit larger garments and you don't care about the 16-inch circumference, the long lace tips actually also come,
the point is longer, yes, like the Turbo, so that it's a little, your hand can rest on it.
We call them long lace tips.
Yeah, it's a matter of personal style. If you do a lot of stitch manipulation, like lace and textured stitches and cables, you're going to want one of these sets because they can dig into the stitches a lot easier.
Besides, the case is pink. It's really pretty. It's pretty. Yeah. And then for those of you who like the wooden feel, we also have the bamboo sets. So you have 4 choices, and whichever set you choose, we will send to you.
Yeah, I think every designer should have a click set in their arsenal because it has all the sizes, all the cables that you need. It's very adaptable and very portable. So.
And when you're swatching, you can just change the tip size as you go along. You never have to switch needles or anything. You have them all right there. Just change that tip and keep on going. And of course, they click in place. They never come unscrewed.
True.
So, which is really great. All right. So after you get this, you will also be getting
tons of yarn.
Tons of yarn. And you're probably wondering, what are you going to use this yarn for? So let us tell you a little bit about this challenge. What is the challenge?
The challenge is to knit your life. So we want you to knit us an autobiography with yarn and needles. And that could mean almost anything. It could be something that you take from an heirloom from your past that you've had passed down in your family. You could reinterpret it, or you could look to a place that your ancestors came from and be inspired by that.
Maybe there's something in your town that inspires you, or something in your past, or something in the future that you're aspiring to. It doesn't matter how you interpret it. As long as you portray it in your work so that we can, in the end, actually see what you were thinking. That is what is important, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And we are giving you a lot of yarn options here. Some of them are more distinct than others. Others are kind of blank slate yarns that you can really go in so many directions with. The first one I have in my bag is Citron Patina. It's a half and half wool and viscose blend, so there's a lot of shine, a lot of drape. It's slightly lighter than a worsted, almost a DK weight. Lots of colors. They come in sort of an ombre. You're going to get a bunch of shade cards, so your first job is to pick a yarn and then to pick shades.
Yes, and of course you can mix yarns if you want to. So your second choice is Shulana Milford. This one actually looks a little bit like a tweed. It's not a tweed. It actually has some slubs worked into it. It's a merino and rayon blend. It's been a favorite this year for fall for knitters. So.
Yeah, really great with cables, texture, all that.
Yes.
I have Shulana Kitseta, and this is a wonderful mohair silk blend. It has a lot of luminosity. It has fuzz, kind of softness.
60-something colors.
Yeah, and the yardage is crazy. And you can do ethereal lace. You can add this to other yarns to make them look a little bit more fuzzy and soft. It's just, the options are endless with this one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Unisono from Zitron. This one here is a 100% merino with a really nice tight twist, which makes it have a great, what I call doing factor, which is great. It also makes all your stitches look very, very even. So it comes in solids, it comes in multis, it's extremely soft. It's a merino that's been enhanced with a little bit of aloe vera, so your hands will get very soft while you're working with it. Yes, spa treatment. Very nice yarn.
Absolutely. I have Zitron Philisilk, which is 70% wool and 30% silk. It has a lot of shine, beautiful bright colors in this one. I would love to see someone mix the colors. Lace is definitely going to be a challenge with the time constraints, but if you can do it, you're going to knock our socks off.
And speaking of socks, Shuffle makes, of course, Zababal, but this is not Zababal, this is Zababala. It's a 100% wool. It's a sport weight, comes in phenomenal long run colors. It's sort of hard to see. You'll have to look at the shade card to see what colors are included. But usually it's a full ball of yarn for the total run of the different colors. It is a sport weight, and it is 100% wool, not superwash, so it will felt. Which is another option.
Yeah, it's gorgeous felted. I think the color gradations look like a sunset. They're really, really beautiful. I have Shulana Piamino, and this is a totally different yarn than the last ones I've showed you. It's really bulky, but it's also very lightweight, so it's a super chunky yarn. You get a really kind of large-scale macro look. They're not all marls. There's a lot of neutral solids as well. It's very, very soft, very light. A really big dramatic coat would be amazing in this. Yeah, that's just where I would go. My mind is already reeling.
You're still thinking of Iceland.
Oh yeah, always.
And then some merino from Shulana. This is also 100% superwash merino that it comes in lovely colors, very soft. If you're going to be doing color work or something, this would be a really good choice to have. It's a very basic yarn that goes very classic.
Yeah, smooth and even fabric.
Goes a long way. Yeah.
All right, I've got two more here. I have Zitron Finest Royal Alpaca. This is also in the classic category. This is just a really simple, well-behaved yarn. It's 100% Royal Alpaca, which is the most luxurious, highest grade of alpaca that is available. And
how does the yarn behave?
Well, it doesn't do anything wacky. I mean, I think it just drapes really nicely. It's like, yeah, you just have to knit it to kind of see. It's an elegant yarn. It is you get to know these yarns when you swatch.
That's a nice little halo.
Yeah, I think every yarn has like a character or personality, and you learn that by swatching it, and you'll see what I mean when you swatch this one.
Yes, and then we have from Haiku, we have Kobasi, and this is for those people who don't want to deal with wool. It's got cotton, bamboo, and silk, and then a percentage of elastic in it, which means it's going to keep its shape very nicely. It's actually the perfect blend of different yarns if you're looking for something that doesn't have wool in it. It comes in a assortment of over 40 colors, I believe. If you're doing socks, if you're doing sweaters, it really doesn't matter. It would be great for color work. It's just a really good alternative.
It's a really surprising yarn with no wool at all. It behaves a lot like wool. The last one I have in my bag is Lace Ball 100. It looks like Zabberball because it has the same long striping repeats, but it's actually a lace weight and it has no nylon in it. So the Lace Ball 100 and the Zabberball 100 from Shuffle have no nylon because they're not meant for socks, so they're meant for lace projects. You can use this, again, for lace or do something crazy and kind of bulk it up, and maybe you can knit something, I'd love to see what you get done in 22 days with very, very fine yarn.
But I wouldn't suggest socks because it doesn't have the nylon. 100% merino is not meant for socks.
Or socks that you just perch up on an ottoman all day and don't do anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Leisure socks.
Okay, and last but not least from Shuffle we have Leinenlos, and this is actually a combination of merino wool and linen. So it's a very unique combination. As Cirilia was saying before, well, why don't you tell them what you were saying?
Oh, I just love that. It's really adaptable. The gauge can go anywhere. You can knit it on a size 3 and it's a fine fabric, or you can go all the way up to an 8 or 7 and have a drapey, airy garment. It really is just totally versatile, and it just gets softer and softer. You were saying linen just gets better with age.
Linen does get better with age, and it's also all the Shuffle pre-felts, because this is one of his pre-felts. They feel a little stiff when they're on the ball, but once they get knitted and they start getting worn, the fibers start breaking down a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. And it creates a much softer garment in the long run.
It's got a really unique look, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Now that you've seen our yarns, you can see that we have a lot for you to choose from. There is a limitation though. Although you can mix as many of the different yarns as you like, you're only allowed to purchase $200 worth of yarn. So Chuck, our producer, will make sure that you stay within that limit.
Is that retail or wholesale?
That is retail.
Okay.
That is retail value. So, and
that's about what people spend on a sweater if they're going to be knitting a sweater.
Sure, I guess
Yeah.
it depends on who it is and where you are.
We'll see how far
You
you
know.
can stretch that budget. I want to be impressed.
Yes,
I want to be
wanna-
shocked.
That's right. We do want to be impressed, which brings me to the criteria for
Factors for judging.
Yes, the judging factors, because we are the fiber factor. And our judging factors this time are, first of all, is how we interpret, or can we interpret, your inspiration.
Yeah, does your story come through in the knitting? Can we, look at your piece and hear your story and say, yeah, I get where she's coming from or he's coming from, and see, what you were trying to say with that piece. It's
correct. And you do get to explain it in the video, too, which will allow us to look at it. And second of all, workmanship, which is something, I mean, I love good workmanship. I like turning something inside out, but I don't think I'm quite as particular as
I just
Cirilia
think it
is.
should be photograph ready. It should be ready to wear.
Yes.
Have those ends woven in. Block it thoughtfully. I mean, just that's definitely part of it. I think when you're done knitting, you bind off. That's only half the battle. The rest of it, the finishing, is really important too.
Well, part of workmanship is fit, too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
it's got to fit right.
Yeah,
So
we're paying attention to all of it.
Yeah, well, and which comes to fit. If you happen to be knitting a sweater, we're looking in a men's, we're looking for a size 40-42, and in a women's, we're looking for approximately a small US 6, probably about a 32-34 inch bust.
It's pretty typical for magazines.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Creativity.
Yeah, creativity. I mean, this could be your chance to just be completely wild if you've never tried knitting. I don't know, what's a crazy piece?
It depends. Some of you guys had pretty crazy videos.
True.
So what I would do is let your personality shine through. So if you are not a crazy person, don't go crazy. But don't play it safe either. I mean, you still want to wow us. So, wow us with your traditional views or whatever it is. Be yourself and show us your history and be as creative as you can. Don't show us something we've seen before. That is something we don't want to see. So.
But keep in mind that it should be knittable. And this is, I know this is a lot to keep all together, but there's always a lot of competing things going on with a design. We want to make sure that it's something that people will want to knit as well. It can't just be, so personal and so singular that you are the only one who can pull it off, or, it just lives on a wall somewhere. We want it to be something that we can share with the world.
Well, yes, because we are going to be having a knit-along after this, which is going to feature this piece. So we want others to be able to knit it and want to knit it. So keep that in mind while you're working on it.
Are we blowing their minds yet?
And if that's not enough to remember, no. You will obviously, the 12 contestants have a list of written rules that goes a little bit more into detail for you. And for those of you who are at home and you're going to be swatching on your own, we wish you a lot of luck. There'll be information on our website that if you do something on your own, that you can actually participate, and I believe you can even win a prize too. So
we're going to get updates. Yeah, keep coming back to the Fiber Factor. The sweaters, or I keep saying sweaters, you can knit whatever you want. May 1st is the deadline.
That gives you 22 days.
22 days.
So you better get going.
Get swatching. The video postcards that we're going to be getting before we'll be sharing with you as well. We want our official swatch gang to send us postcards of their studio, of their town, of their family, anything that is, part of their history that's going to contribute to understanding the final design.
And I think that does it.
I think that's it.
That's your first challenge. We wish you all luck. And wow, in about 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have our first winner.
This is so exciting.
Have fun.
Have fun.
Bye.